Am I the asshole for demanding my husband cancel his boys' weekend and come home? Basically, my husband and I have been married for about 6 years and have a 3-year-old daughter, Elle. Prior to getting married and having Elle, we were both very independent people. This hasn't changed. As much as we value our couple/family time, we also both cherish time to ourselves and with our friends. We came up with an agreement that we each get one weekend a year to do whatever we like. Go away, stay in a hotel, go out with friends, while the other stays home looking after Elle. It's been working really well so far. Well, this past weekend was my husband's time, and he chose a fishing trip with pals, staying in a cabin roughly 30 minutes away. No problems. Saturday morning, the worst happened. My sister was involved in a serious car wreck. She's on life support. It's touch and go, and I'm devastated. I called my husband to tell him and ask he come home ASAP. And he refused. He said it's his weekend and he'll come by the hospital Monday. He wasn't totally heartless. He listened to me cry and scream and reassured me she'd be okay. How do we know that? But he was adamant that he's enjoying the remainder of his weekend and will join me today. My family are obviously noticing his absence and I'm too embarrassed to tell them. I understand this is interfering with his weekend, but this is my sister and she's in critical condition. I'm stunned. He's never been this selfish before. I'm angry, upset, confused, and I just don't know what to do. I told him if he didn't come home now, don't bother coming home at all. Now I'm wondering if I was too harsh because I haven't slept in 2 days and I'm a wreck. Am I the asshole?
No.
Not at all.
I think you haven't slept in 2 days because you realized you're married to a shitty person.
Am I the asshole for being pissed off at my girlfriend for licking all the Oreos? This is so stupid. We mostly get along great, but this one issue is driving me fucking crazy. Yesterday, I went to get myself a couple of Oreos and I noticed that they looked like they were taken apart and put back together. The cream was smeared/gone from a couple. My girlfriend confirmed that she licked every single one of them and put them back in the box. She kept saying, "Eat your chocolate chips." But that's not the point. It's not hygienic having licked food just laying around the house like that. It's just gross. Today, she's doubling down. When the groceries came, she opened the chips in front of me, licked one of them all over, like just slobbered all over it, then put it back in the bag and shook it up. Now I can't eat any of them because I don't know which ones have spit on them. Girlfriend says I'm the asshole for not letting this go, but I can't. It's so gross.
That's bizarre.
Why are we putting them back? Because maybe someone else wants the rest?
If, granted, her water did break on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Say she's, out there jerking the chicken or whatever dance move.
Jerking.
Isn't that a thing?
If it is, I'm aware. Are you thinking of jerking or cat daddying? Those are two different moves.
Well, no, this is an old... Choke the chicken. Choking the chicken. Oh, shit. No, choking the chicken means to jerk off. I thought it was a dance move.
Okay, she's out there in the cha-cha slide.
Whatever, the electric slide. The cha-cha is a separate one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, well, no.
Okay, I want to circle back on our earlier episode where we said we want to be invited to weddings. This is why. We don't even know what the dances are.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I can do the jerk, though. Or not the jerk, I can do the reject. Am I the asshole for not thinking the joke my family played on my girlfriend was a big deal? I, 25 male, have a girlfriend, 23 female, who is absolutely beautiful, but she does have a large facial scar. My family often jokes about it. They have a super dark sense of humor. It bothers my girlfriend, and she says it doesn't feel like a joke. It feels like she's being insulted under the pretense of it being dark humor. Even though I explain it's just how they are and they don't mean any harm, she doesn't really want to be around them. I told her it was really important to me we spend Christmas with my family. We would all quarantine first and test, and it was important to me. She resisted at first, but after some urging from me, she gave in. She said I absolutely could not excuse their behavior if they made a rude comment about her, though. We got there, and it was fine for a while. Then my mom and my sister broke out their matching ugly sweaters that had my girlfriend's face all over it. They both laughed, saying my mom made them screen printed, and it was just a joke. My dad thought it was hilarious. I even chuckled a little because she's really beautiful, so it was ironic they put her on an ugly sweater. My girlfriend looked at me, and when I said they were just being ironic, she shook her head, got up, and left. didn't say anything to anyone, just took her car and left. The whole time my mom is upset because it was just a joke and she didn't realize my girlfriend was going to overreact like this. I told her that a warning would have been nice, but my sister agreed it was just a joke and my girlfriend was being a baby about it. I had another fight with my girlfriend when I finally got home and she said I was an asshole for putting her in that situation. She said I let them treat her badly and was trying to make it her fault when it was my family who was acting badly. I said it was just a joke and that she was overreacting. She asked how it was supposed to be a joke. I said that was just their sense of humor. I said I was sorry she was offended by the joke, but she ruined the whole day with her reaction. She said that no, them realizing she wasn't going to take their bullshit anymore ruined the day. We aren't speaking currently. I don't really think I've done anything though. I didn't know they were going to do that. And really, it was just a joke, and I think she's overreacting. Am I really the asshole here?
He's like, it's ironic. She's beautiful. What if she doesn't think she's beautiful, right?
Am I the asshole for walking around my house in lingerie? So, my husband, male 34, and I, female 28, got married recently and moved into our new home. The neighborhood is nice and quiet and the neighbors are really nice, except for this family that lives right next to us. Although we just got back from our honeymoon, I still wear lingerie and sometimes walk around in them when I wake up in the morning when making coffee or breakfast. The other day, I was in the kitchen preparing coffee while my husband was out and I heard a knock on the door. I immediately went to grab my robe, long, before answering. I opened the door and found our next door neighbor. I asked how he was doing and he told me that his 7-year-old kid's window is facing our living room. And since his daughter uses binoculars, she saw me wearing inappropriate clothes while walking around in the living room. Turns out his daughter uses her binoculars to supposedly watch the yard, but she obviously peeped through our large glass windows to see inside, even though we have curtains on. My neighbor said that wasn't cool and his daughter just saw something she cannot unsee, and that is not appropriate. And he requested that I be a little considerate when it comes to clothing or lack of. But I thought that was just ridiculous since that is in my home. I argued that this is my house and I get to wear whatever I want, and also his daughter had no business peeping. What the fuck? He said she's just a kid and didn't mean any harm. Went as far as to say she was just being curious. I said, sorry, but you're gonna have to leave. He did not take it well and implied that he'd take steps to ensure I don't expose his daughter to stuff like that in the future. I told my husband what happened when he got home and he agreed with our neighbor, saying that I should just leave the lingerie in the room where it belongs and learn to put some decent clothes on before getting out of the bedroom to avoid these types of incidents. He also said I was wrong to speak to our neighbors like that, and that if he was in his shoes and his kid witnessed that, he'd be just as furious, if not more. So, we should cut our neighbors some slack. I feel like I was the asshole for how I handled the situation, but I think since I'm in my own home, then why can't I wear what I want and to be carefree? I'm confused. Am I the asshole?
She could walk around naked in her house, though.
My 22 female boyfriend, 23 male, is a professional athlete. The season has started, and already the gossip is going. My man and I have been together for about a year or so, and last spring he got drafted to a major team. Of course, I'm happy and excited for him, but he's on the road a lot since then, and I feel like our relationship is becoming strained, and he's become distant, but he always chalks it up to the stress and wanting to make an impression on his team and the tough schedule he has. I could accept that, and he came home a lot when he could to spend time with me and his fam and brought beautiful gifts. I couldn't make it to his first game, but I made sure to watch it and tell him how proud I was of him, and he made sure to tell me how lucky he was to have me. This morning, I went on a forum that often talks about athletes and the tea, aka the dirt on their personal lives. And it mentioned that my man has been talking to groupies and was seen hanging out and leaving the club with a bunch of them, along with some of his boys that are on the team. I'm freaking the fuck out. I sent him a text to call me ASAP. My friends and everyone is telling me that he's an athlete now and, quote, shit happens. And that what happens on the road should stay on the road. I love him, but I don't know what I should believe. Has anyone ever dated a pro before? What am I getting myself into? Is it possible this shit is just lies, or should I grill him?
Stress is every man's side chick.
My 27 female husband, 30 male, posted on here to cry about the open marriage he asked for. I'm pretty sure my husband has been posting on here about our marriage, and since he wants strangers all up in our business, let's do it.
Oh,
He talked about how he asked for an open marriage because I never wanted to have sex with him, but didn't mention that this was not even a year after we lost our baby and my body had gone through the worst experience of my life. I had to deliver our lifeless baby and then almost died. I felt like a failure for losing our baby, and here he was telling me I was failing as a wife too. I told him he could do whatever he wanted. The first weekend after I agreed to this open marriage, he left me with the kids for 3 nights and came back with a $700 charge on our bank account and said if I don't want him to spend so much, I should let him bring girls to the basement, and I ended up saying okay. I would be upstairs crying myself to sleep, feeling like a failure, hoping this would only last a couple months, while he was downstairs with I don't know who. He mentioned that I met another guy, but didn't talk about how I went through this whole period where I'd try to have sex with him more than a couple of times a month, and he'd say, not now, I have someone coming, or no, I'm tired, I just had sex with XYZ. I'd already met someone, but I wanted to put our relationship first and didn't want to start seeing someone else. I kept trying, but it seemed like to him, I was just a babysitter, maid, co-parent, and roommate. I decided to let the other guy in because I wanted to hurt my husband and remind him that I exist. But honestly, being treated like I'm the most amazing person on earth feels good. He puts me first and treats me so well. Now that my husband is realizing that, he's throwing temper tantrums and trying to make me feel bad. He knew I was going to be gone this weekend. I told him that weeks ago, but apparently since he told me that he's closing the marriage on his side and wanting to reconnect with me, he'd expected me to do the same. Now he's saying I abandoned him and the kids when I didn't. I'm finally feeling like a human being again, and I'm not going to ghost the guy who's helped me get to this point just because my husband is paying attention to me again. Since we're asking strangers for opinions, I'm curious. What would you do in my situation if the person you loved treated you the way he treated me?
Leave.
Run. Am I the asshole for setting an ultimatum with my sister over sign language? I, 30 female, am hearing. Married to a deaf man, 32 male. I'm going to call him Walter. And we have a deaf daughter, 6 female. I'll call her Cora. Walter comes from a primarily deaf family, but my family is all hearing. We have chosen to raise Cora with sign language and not go for an implant. This is simply for context. I am not seeking judgment on this. Before Walter and I got married, my parents began to take classes to learn ASL, as did my brother and his family. My sister, Emily, took them for a bit but ended up not continuing due to quote, lack of interest. She and her husband have not taken any lessons, nor have their 3 children. Walter tried introducing their daughter to baby sign when she and Cora were both very young, but my brother-in-law asked him to stop, as he didn't want to, quote, confuse her.
Confuse her of what?
When we learned Cora was deaf, Emily pestered me about getting her an implant and continues to send me shamey Facebook posts about the benefits of the implant and those videos of babies hearing for the first time. She constantly says it's, quote, better than having to learn 2 languages. She's very pushy about it. My last straw was this past weekend. Emily was with all her kids, teaching them a game. I noticed that Cora wasn't joining, so I brought her over and Emily outright told me that Cora couldn't play because it's a game, quote, for people who can speak. I was fuming and pulled her aside. I told her that my daughter can communicate, just not how Emily wants, and said that I won't have my daughter excluded for something so petty. I told Emily that we will be cutting contact unless she starts putting in effort, learning ASL, teaching her kids, including Cora, and not being so disrespectful. We got in a spat about it, so my family left. Emily has not had contact since. My parents think I'm being unfair to Emily, but agree she should make more of an effort, and my brother has completely agreed with me. I do worry that I'm being clouded by mama bear rage, and this is actually super irrational, so I think I might be the asshole. So, who's the asshole?
No, Emily is the asshole. I just don't.
Okay, this next one's a little weird.
Okay.
Am I the asshole for refusing to sign anything while my eyes are blindfolded? Ever since I got out of the hospital for chronic problems, my husband has been introducing me to some fun games every evening. One game used to be about doing things while my eyes are blindfolded, involving puzzles, Rubik's Cube, shaped objects, etc. We'd take turns to do it just for entertainment. Well, just a couple of days ago, he's been trying to get me to sign papers while wearing a blindfold. I refuse to do it because he never lets me take a look at what I'm signing either before or after. He says that he was just trying to see if I could leave the same signature every time I sign, but I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. I told him I don't want to play this game unless and until he shows me the papers first. He said, quote, "Never mind then," and stopped bringing it up. Last night, he tried to convince me to give it a try and even volunteered to go first. I asked if he was going to show me what I was going to sign, and he made a face and said, "No, it's the rules, and I should respect them." I refused, and he kept on about how I keep acting worried and suspicious for no reason. He said I clearly don't trust him, and he was hurt by finding that out now after everything we've been through. We had an argument, and I told him to drop it and not bring it up again, period. He was mad despite saying it was no big deal. He was obviously upset with me and kept talking about how I don't trust him and that I was out of line to assume or suspect anything from him like this. I might be paranoid, but I couldn't help it. I do think I was the asshole to him after he stood by my side when my own family didn't even visit.
It's a big yikes. You know, because
Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend to stop buying NASA-related things?
Oh.
My girlfriend, 24 female, and I, 27 male, have been together for 3 years. For as long as I can remember, she's obsessed with astronauts and NASA shirts. Her dream job isn't even to be an astronaut. She just thinks they're incredibly aesthetic and loves planets and admired astronauts. The issue is, it makes her look incredibly smart when she reveals the admiration to other people, and the fact that it's childish to be this into NASA and astronauts and not have it as a dream job. I have no issues with that particularly, other than the fact that my girlfriend is absolutely terrible at math due to ADHD, so even if she were to be involved in NASA, she'd suck at it. It's an ongoing joke with my girlfriend that she's terrible at math, and we have a laugh about it. The other day, we were hanging out with our mutual friends, and she showed them pictures of her new NASA/astronaut-themed bed sheets that I had no knowledge of her even buying. I lost it there. I told her to stop being so obsessed with NASA and astronauts, and it makes her look childish when it's not actually her dream job, and to stop wasting her money on things like that. She looked shocked and got up and left. She hasn't responded to my texts or calls in nearly 24 hours, and I don't want to show up at her apartment. My friends are telling me I fucked up, but I felt like she needed a reality check. Am I the asshole?
I think he's kind of shitting on a pretty harmless, interest. And also, you can be appreciative of something. It's it's not her fault that she's shitty at math.
Who is it hurting?
Yeah, exactly.
Why does it bother you so much that she finds happiness in one small little thing?